Ho ho ho! Welcome to day 9 of our VLOGMAS series where we're talking about the step-by-step process of getting your Canadian permanent residence through express entry for federal skilled workers. Phew! Such a mouthful. Basically, we're talking about how to come to Canada the way I did, Sha. Anywho, on day 1, we talked about checking your eligibility. On day 2, we talked about language test. On day 3, we talked about education and credential assessment. On day 4, we talked about creating an express entry. On day 5, we talked about the waiting game. On day 6, we talked about the invitation to apply. On day 7, we talked about waiting again after getting your invitation. On day 8, we talked about the for visa email, but life doesn't stop there, yeah? On day 9, today, we're going to talk about the travel preparations and the landing process. So basically, there are 2 types of landings that you can do as a permanent resident. As I spoke about in the last video, there's a deadline to your visa's validity. You can't just say, okay, I've got the permanent resident, I can wait for the next 1 year and sort out my things. At the same time, you can understand that there are some things that you can't wrap up within a few weeks or depending on with your visa's validity. So you can do what is referred to as a final landing or a soft landing. So basically, a final landing is when you're saying, okay, I'm done, my affairs are in order, I'm going to go and start my life, that's it, in Canada. Or you can decide to do a soft landing so that you get your permanent resident card can start, and then you go back to your country and have your permanent resident be sent to you somewhere. Actually, they say that it's illegal to have your permanent resident be sent by post, but like if someone is coming to you physically, you can do that. So that is the difference between final landing and soft landing. So you can do both. We did final landing. So now all my people's permanent resident cards are here except mine. So if something were to happen, we're talking about this today, if something were to happen, I can't leave the country. They can, my husband and my baby, but I can't. If I leave, I'll have to apply something called a PRTD, like a travel document of some sort, so that I can be allowed to come into the country. Like, yeah, it's a difficult. So now let's try to talk about landing as a permanent resident. Let's see what they say in this site. Right, they say that you can, when you arrive, we'll check your identity to make sure that you're the same person who was approved to travel to Canada. So when you get your passports back, you get a COPR, which is a confirmation of permanent residence, and your visa stamped into your passport. So when you come, you're going to scan your passport and maybe your COPR, I don't remember. At 10 major Canadian airports, your fingerprints will be checked automatically at a primary inspection. Yeah, I remember we did like a self-check. We had to do this and like scan our hands. I think we didn't do that for the baby, but otherwise, yeah. Okay. So if you're entering as a visitor, a student, or worker, you have different entry requirements. But we're going to skip right here to where you are landing as a permanent resident, as a skilled immigrant for the first time. Yeah. So as I have said, when you approve, you'll be mailed your COPR and your permanent resident visa. Right. Your COPR will have the photography that you have taken, right? So before you arrive, you can use the free pre-arrival services, which can help you find out more about living and working in Canada and taking steps to get recognition in Canada for your education or licenses. When you come here, you must have your passport, you must have your copier document. Please don't leave it at home. Honestly, please. Like, you need to check if you have these things. You never know, like, your village people will find you and you get confused and you forget your copier. You're not entering. You need to have your proof of funds. That can be like a bank letter to show how much money you have in the bank. We were not asked, but you never know. Your officer might ask you. Our officer was the sweetest guy. He was the sweetest guy. He just asked us to confirm our address for the PR card and asked us to check if the information was correct. They asked us to sign and even helped us to push our luggage, because we had 2 big trolleys of luggages. Like, we're done, but we're moving for real, and we had a baby. So he felt busy for us and helped us move our luggage to the area where we had to wait for an Uber or something. So that was nice of them. So you need to make sure you're entering Canada before the expiry of your copier, and that you are the same person who was approved to travel to Canada. Don't take chances and say, okay, it's my sister who was approved, but she can't travel. Let me try my luck because we look alike. No, guys. No ways. Okay? And you have to make sure you keep your passport and your other documents with you at all times. Don't pick them in the other luggage that goes into the boot of the airplane. Like, your luggage can get lost or whatever. They won't allow you into Canada if you give false information or you don't satisfy the officer that you meet the conditions to enter Canada. Like, as I said in the last video, until and unless they tell you welcome to Canada and step your copier, you're not a permanent resident. So yeah. And yeah, so if you come with more than 10,000, you must tell your CBSA officer, and if you don't tell them, your funds might be seized. So this is something you need to think about. I also like there's also this website, though it's not a government website. Since your application has already been approved, I can say that, okay, fine. There are other sites that you can use, like this Canada Abroad. It will talk to you about, as mentioned, your copier, your passport, your proof that you have funds. It will also talk about declaring your goods. Like, when you enter, you need to declare the goods that you're bringing into Canada. If, like, you're bringing different goods like spices, there's some people who bring like 1 year supply of their spices and dried foods and stuff from their houses, which is good. You can just declare them. And if you have goods that are coming, I think for your first trip, if you're landing for the first time, you're allowed to bring your goods for free via, like, it won't be taxed. So you can always fill in this personal effects document and present it to your office on arrival to say, okay, these are the goods that will be following. Let's say they've been shipped via DHL and stuff, because not everybody. Maybe you have a nice couch that you don't want to let go and you want to bring it. Maybe your clothes are too many, you want to ship them, so you want to do that. And then if you're coming with pets, I mean, you can't leave your boki or your bingo, bingo, at home. Maybe you want them. So if you're importing, you need to meet specific requirements associated with importing the pet. So you can always find out what that involves. And if you're coming with firearms, I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, maybe you are a law enforcement agent and you need to ensure that you meet all specific requirements to do so and ensure that they're not prohibited from importing them into Canada. So this is something that you have to think about. Yeah. There was another checklist that talks about what to do 1 month before landing, what to do, what to do here, but I've forgotten where to find that one. Let me say this. 1 month before landing as a permanent resident. Guys, I'm also doing research as we go because I don't want to start talking about something that I don't know about, right? I don't want to talk about something that I don't know about. I want to give you guys a proper way of, like, this is how I do research. Not everybody knows everything, but the internet is full of your research. So once you okay, I found the checklist that I was looking for. It is this arrivein.com. It's a checklist about moving to Canada. You can always it talks about what to do weeks prior, months prior, 1 year, 2 years before moving, blah blah blah. It needs me to log in and stuff, so I'm not gonna do that, but this is something that you can do. Let me see if I can see something here. Damn, I'm really going beyond to try and zoom in here and see exactly and see what they're talking about. But guys, you can always go there and see. It talks about taking inventory about your existing bank accounts, closing your bank accounts which you don't need, and credit cards at home, paying off your loans. Please don't run away with people's monies. Don't say just because you're going to Canada, then whatever. It talks about setting up automatic payments for things that you have to pay for, like let's say you have mortgages at home and stuff like that, canceling recurring payments that you won't need anymore, transferring funds into your Canadian bank account to show proof of funds if you have already started, because you can always open a bank account online, but come on guys, you can do it when you reach here. You can also start registering with Canadian employment agencies, start looking for suitable job openings on Indeed, customize your CV, and those things. So you can always go on this arrive.com and look for this checklist to help you see what you need. So once you arrive and your COPR is stamped, you need to keep that thing safe for all the days of your life. Like, this is the most important thing that you have, that you own now. Forget about your passport, your birth certificate, your spouse, your COPR. It's the most important thing you have now. So you need this document, to keep this document. Even when your permanent resident card comes, you still need this. Another thing that you need is an address to send your PR card to. So obviously when you arrive, you don't have a permanent address. I'm against, you can put the address of your Airbnb if you're going to stay there longer, but I'm against this. Like, that's if you know nobody in that city. Like, I mean, if you have been in the groups, if you have been following, if you've been commenting on my videos and I'm familiar with you now, literally can put my address. But if you have not been, if you've not been, supporting me in that way, I can't help you. But yeah, I'm kidding, guys. But if you need an address, a permanent address, to give that immigration officer so that they can send you a PR card. You can put you can ask anyone to provide their address. Literally, they'll just have to find like the cards. They don't come out that week. They don't come out. Like, I still don't have my card, and I came here in August, so you can understand. So it will come eventually, inshallah. But yeah, so you need that. You need like an address. You can ask, you can put your Airbnb if you don't have people. You can ask anybody for their address for that. I'm pretty sure people can't refuse you. So yeah, I've come to the end of this video. I have one more video before I conclude this part of the series and I go back to my regular schmegler. But yeah, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, and let me know if you have any questions of this, and also let me know if you like this video and if it's informative in any way. I've never done a tutorial, guys. I don't know how to teach, but I hope I'm communicating and I hope I'm making sense. So without further ado,